Good morning, artists. Mrs. Langlis here, and today we are coming back to a project that we started last week. Last week we were making a butterfly, and today we are going to add details to that butterfly. So just as a reminder, we started out with a piece of paper that we folded in half and drew a butterfly shape on it. Then when we cut it out, we were able to open it up and end up with our butterfly shape. If you haven't had a chance to make a butterfly, please go back and watch that video so that you will have it to work on. Now keep in mind that I also asked you to save the part that you cut it out from. Now this is going to be for the next project that I'm going to show, so make sure you keep that somewhere safe. So for today, all you need is the inside of that butterfly that you cut out, okay? It's kind of cool. You can actually make it look like it's flying away here. All right, so today we are going to work on what you see right here. Mine is not quite finished. We're going to come back to this one in just a minute, but we're going to work on tracing, or sorry, I should say, we're going to work on drawing with a pencil first, then we're going to work on tracing, and then we're going to work on coloring, okay? So I am going to bring us back to our white butterfly that we made last week. And here we are. Let's make sure that I am on the screen, and I think I'm looking pretty good here. Okay, so as we mentioned last week, a butterfly is what you would call symmetric, or it has symmetry, because it's the same on one side as it is on the other, just like the hearts we made earlier in the year. So we are going to add details to our butterfly, but if we add it to one side, we have to also add it to the other. So for example, here is one beautiful butterfly that I pulled off the internet, and you'll notice that there's an oval here, and if you look on the other side, it is the same shape on this wing as it is there. So it matches up from side to side. So how are we going to do that? Well, let's come back to our butterfly. Now you can make whatever shapes you want to on your butterfly. So remember, yours doesn't have to look just like mine. I'm gonna start out by making an oval, just like that last shape. So I'm going to start toward the center of my body, and you'll see that I have drawn that line in here to show where the body is. I've also drawn the lines in here to show where the wings are separated. So the next thing I'm going to do is start with an oval. So I'm just going to make an oval, kind of an oval that comes out almost like a teardrop, so it gets more pointed toward the center. So now that I've drawn that one, I'm going to come over to the other side and do the same thing. Now, don't worry if it doesn't look totally exact. We're just here to practice. And that's also why we're using a pencil, so that if you need to erase and change things, you can. So I've got one over here and one over here. So far, so good. Now, this next one, I'm just going to make a little bit larger and then come back. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, so a little bit larger. And then I'm going to make a shape that just sort of fits in that space. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. There. So now this matches up, and this matches up. Great. Now I'm going to come down to the bottom, and I'm just going to make a big oval that sort of goes right in the middle. And then I think I'll do the same thing on the other side. So remember, whatever shape you make is fine, just make it again on the other side. Now I'm going to make some smaller shapes that sort of fill up this space. So there's another one, and there's another one. I think there's a little bit of room here for us to make a thin one. There's one. So every time I do this, it looks a little bit different. Okay, so it's all matched up. Now I've got this really beautiful space out here, and oftentimes on butterflies or even moths, they have like dots in those spaces. Okay, so I think I'm gonna add those in. So first, I'm gonna start up here, oops, toward the top, and I'm just going to make, kind of a little one, maybe another oval, And then another one. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So let me scoot it over. I know I had one, and then I have another, and then another, and another, and another, and then one more little guy down here. Great. So now the top wings look like they're finished and I can come down to the bottom. So I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm just going to make a little shape. Maybe this time I'll hop from side to side. That, I think, helps to kind of keep me on track with what I'm making if you go from side to side. I'll also do this when I color, and so you'll see that in just a minute. And then I think finally I'm going to do one big kind of almost like a circle down there. And I think that my butterfly is finished. Boy, I like this one actually even better than the one that I made before. All right, so our next step in this project is to trace. So I'm just gonna grab any old black marker. You could also use crayon if you'd like. And I'm just gonna trace. And again, I like to do this because it gives me a spot to color in, sort of like a coloring sheet. So you're just going to come along and trace each of your shapes. And you don't necessarily have to use black. You could use a different color too. So you're going to trace all those spots. Now I'm going to bring us back to this one. So here we are. I have traced all the spots, and I also actually started coloring. Okay, so we're going to come back to that right now. And I've already decided, I grabbed a handful of markers, and you can use crayons, colored pencils, whatever you have on hand. I grabbed like a collection of markers that I kind of liked the combination and how they went together. So feel free to choose whatever colors you want. And I think that the next color I'm going to use is going to be yellow. So I am going to start to color in these ovals here, and I'm going to make them yellow on both sides, because remember, one side should look like the other. So when you color in one, let's say this turquoisey color, the blue-green, then you're going to do the same over here. If this one's pink, this one's going to be pink, and so on. And so what I like to do is color in one side and then jump to the other so that I know that I'm on track. That way, if I switch up the colors, I will know that each side matches up. So there's my other yellow. Well, it looks like it's picking up a little bit of the black marker, which is kind of a bummer, but that happens with regular markers. All right, so yellow, yellow, and then this one. So again, and I kind of like to trace the outer edges first and then color in the center. Helps to keep me on track, okay? So jumping from one side to the other can help you line up your colors and keep yourself on track for making them match up with symmetry. So I'm going to come back. I'm noticing now I forgot to do my little turquoise parts in here. So I'm just going to, again, go jump from side to side and fill those in. Now, I haven't really decided whether or not I want to color the white area in between each of my shapes. So like this white area right there. I'm not sure whether I might just leave that white or I might choose to color it in. I might even use a crayon to color it in instead, because that might be a little bit easier. So I'm going to continue coloring mine until it is finished. And I hope that you will do the same. When you finish with your butterfly, please take a photo and share it with me on Seesaw or send it to me through email, because I'd love to see your finished artwork. Now remember, don't forget, we're going to do a really special project next week that involves the spot that we cut this out of. So please hold on to those scraps for our next artwork. All right, guys, have a great week and have fun making your butterflies and looking for butterflies outside. All right, see you guys later.